Somebody didn't sit in this gathering, he doesn't get guna, major guna. It's not first to sit here. But if I sit, it's first for me to listen with due reverence and respect. Otherwise, don't bother sitting. Allah Ta'ala grant me and all of us tawfiq. It's eaten my bayan time up now. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. You alright, brother? Oh, Mawlana, tomorrow chukro. Is that Yusuf? Come here. Come sit with Abdul Rahman here. Why are you scared of me? Come on. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadullah al-Aliy al-Azim wa nusalli wa nusallim ala rasulih al-Habib al-Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'd. Respected brothers and elders, Allah Ta'ala has blessed us with the greatest wealth of Iman and Islam, which makes us the richest people and most fortunate people on the face of the earth. Because we've not made an effort for it, therefore we don't give it the due respect and we don't value ourselves. When somebody's going to the masjid, wife asks him, "Come out." So he'll slam the door with a huff. When he comes back, wife goes, Kangela, where did you go? The masjid. Yeah? The guy goes to a football match, when he comes back, where did you go? His eyes are light up. He can't shut up about it. If a guy goes to a sale, he can't shut up about it. When he gets a tawfiq to come to the masjid, he thinks it's a burden, calamity upon him. Iman and Islam is the greatest ni'mat that we have. Hadhrat Mawlana Qari Dawood Saheb Mewati Rahmatullah used to say that you will never find an aviation company in the whole of the world that will fly a Boeing 747, a jumbo jet, from one country to another, from England to Australia, just for one passenger. Many times you get the plane is cancelled. Why? Because they didn't get enough passengers. They won't fly a whole Boeing 747, a jumbo jet for one passenger. It's not cost effective. If that person is royalty, is a tycoon, is very important, they'll have their own private jet with a few seats on it. Yes? You'll never find a train company that commissions the running of a train from London to Glasgow, all the carriages with the engine just for one passenger. If the person is very important, they'll have an engine with 2 carriages, but not the whole fleet. And then he used to say, and yet you and I and all of us are so precious, so valuable in the sight of Allah. We're so important, we're such VIPs. We're so rich that Allah is not commissioning the flying of a plane for you and I, or running of a train for you and I. Allah Ta'ala is commissioning the running of the system of the whole of the universe just for you and I. La taqum as-sa'a hatta yuqalu Allah Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, if Allah forbid all the Muslims die and only one person, one Muslim is left, and that Muslim is so far gone, he doesn't even know the kalima. He just says, I'm a Musliman. He just says Allah Allah. For that one person, if you're the last man standing, for you, Allah Ta'ala will continue to run the system of the universe. Kuch qadar tune apni na jani, ye beswadi ye kam nigahi. Oh Muslim, you have not understood your worth. How valuable are you in the sight of Allah? And why? Not because of your Bugatti, not because of your job, but because of your Iman. So he used to say, therefore, O Muslim, when you wake up in the morning with a scowl on your face, grumpy, because you're going to join the rat race, going to try and earn some bucks, trying to get rich, instead, O Muslim, you should wake up in the morning with a smile on your face, with joy in your heart. And when you see the sun rising, you should tell yourself that the sun is not rising for Her Royal Highness or Mr. Tycoon or Mr. Billionaire. The sun is rising for me. Allahu Akbar. And as long as I or any person with Iman continues to exist on the face of this earth, the sun will continue to rise and the moon will continue to set, and the sun will set and the moon will rise, and the rivers will flow and the grass will grow, and the rains will flow and the winds will blow, and the seasons will change, and the streams will trickle and the rivers will flow, and the waves will continue to crash on the shores, and spiders will continue to spin their webs, and bees will continue to produce their honey, and cows will continue to produce their milk, and the whole of the system of the universe will continue to run just for one person who has La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Today, because we've not made that effort, we see a person, they don't have Iman, but they've got good looks, or they've got good skills, or they've got bling, they've got money, or he's got a fit girlfriend, or he's got a nice house, and we start salivating. People actually make dua, oh Allah, make me just like him. La hawla wala. What does he say in the riwayat? If a person has been blessed with the Quran, he's Hafiz of Quran, and he sees somebody who's been blessed with dunya, because dunya is also a ni'mat, but it's not the highest ni'mat. It's not the highest ni'mat. That comes as news to people, you see. People don't understand. I said to somebody, in a bayan once, I said, there are greater ni'mats than receiving £1 million. People are like looking at me, God, not take it. So what ni'mat can be greater than £1 million? I said, for you hungry, salivating dogs of the dunya, who are always chasing after the dunya, for you £1 million is everything. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that I pray Fajr namaz with Jamaat, and I stay sitting in my place, or that a person goes home, but he had the intention that I'll get better seclusion, for better khushu khudu, he's gone home. Otherwise he would have stayed in his place. Or he moves to listen to the bayan or to sit in mashwara or something. But he stays engaged in ibadat till sunrise, and he offers 2 rakats, ishraq namaz. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that is dearer to me than everything upon which the sun rises, meaning the whole world and whatever it contains. You get the tawfiq to say once, all of you say subhanallah, brothers. Subhanallah. You and I, today we've received a ni'mat greater than £1 million. But to understand that, a person has to have Iman. Many people even now they're thinking, oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, but £1 million wouldn't go on me, sorry. But a person who has true faith in his heart will understand that no, these are real ni'mats. In the riwayat it says, a person is blessed with the Quran, then he sees somebody who's been endowed more than him in terms of the dunya, and he envies him. He has done nashukri, he's been ungrateful to Allah for the great ni'mat that Allah has bestowed him. Today, brothers, we don't understand that. Today is just dunya for us. And we're just chasing the dunya and missing out on the greatest ni'mats. One person said to me, when I first came to this country, I didn't have a job. I used to open the masjid in the morning. I used to give Fajr Azan. I used to be first one behind Imam Saheb. I used to pray Fajr Namaz. I used to sit till Ishraq. I used to lock the masjid. Same for Zohar, Asar, Maghrib, Isha. I used to enjoy it so much. I said, brother, you can still do that, I said, what happened? I said, I got a job. So, what happened is you joined the rat race. And the false, the devious, the deceptive lure of the dunya has taken you, hook, line and sinker. And you started thinking that that's a ni'mat, those are great ni'mats. And you've deprived yourselves of these things. Not realizing that the real ni'mat, the real rich person, is a person who gets the tawfiq to do amal, even if he has nothing to his name. The pauper, when he will die, the poor person, on the day that he dies, very few people will notice. Even fewer people will attend his funeral. But he was a man of Iman. He was a man of amal. He loved Allah. He loved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whole world will say he was a loser. He didn't have any properties. He didn't have a shop, he didn't have a business, he's lost out, he's a loser. But Allah and His Rasul say, no, he's successful. So successful, you and I can't even begin to imagine. Rasulullah said, just as he's dying, that person is dying, he's not gone yet. Just as he's dying, 500 angels will come down from Jannah. That's a minimum. In the hadith, wherever it's mentioned, that's a generalization for the average Joe or average Mo. But there have been incidents. There have been instances. 70,000 angels came down. One Mawlana was passing away. At the time that he was passing away, another Mawlana was sleeping. In his dream, he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Haq Chariyar, Sahaba Kiram, the four Khulafa, going very quickly. Said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He saw that they're in his town and they're heading past his house. Said, Ya Rasulullah, where are you going? They said, the angels are coming to collect the ruh of such and such Mawlana. We want to welcome him. We're going for that. The Mawlana woke up and he asked his disciples, his students, go and check on the Mawlana. They said, no, the Mawlana's okay. Has he been ill? No, he's not been ill. Just then somebody came with the news that Mawlana's passed away. 70,000 angels, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, four Khulafai Rashidin came to collect. Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi, his story is long also. When he passed away, the Sahaba Kiram came. And in our times, I don't have time, in our times there have been examples. Mawlana Umar Parampuri Sahib rahmatullahi passed away. Somebody saw Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Sahaba Kiram, big Jamaat of Sahaba Kiram going. Where are you going? Say, Umar Parampuri is coming. We're going to welcome him. We're going to tell him to do bayan amongst the Sahaba Kiram. وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. These are things worth acquiring, brothers. These are things worth striving for. We're just crazy, we're just happy with our dunya. You don't pray Fajr namaz and you make £1,000, nay, £10,000, nay, £1,000,000 profit that day. By the qasam of Allah, you made a loss. And if you have eyes of Iman, you will understand that. Today, in our masjids, for the past 50 odd years, the ailan is being made. The announcement is being made every single day. People coming to our doors. In the masjid, Imam Sahib, Ta'aleem, Jamaats, every single day we've been told, go in Jamaat, go in the path of Allah, go in the path of Allah. But we are indifferent. Turn our backs, walk away. Every single day, go in any masjid and check. Ta'aleem will take place. Vast majority of people turn their backs and walk away. Ta'aleem, what does Ta'aleem mean? Words of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be recited. Instead, we turn our backs and go and listen to the false khabar of the dunya, to watch the news, to scroll. And you know the absurd thing is, afterwards, we'll say, we'll waste our time watching it, and then we'll admit as well, it's all lies. Biased media. Are bhai, the true news was here, and you walked away from it. And then we'll make excuses. The path of Allah. What is the path of Allah? A person who comes to the masjid is in the path of Allah. The ultimate path of Allah is going out in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Dajjal will come and to fight the army of Dajjal. That is ultimate. No doubt about it. But there are other paths of Allah also. A person goes in Umrah, he's in the path of Allah. Goes in Hajj, he's in the path of Allah. In Bukhari Sharif there's a riwayat. A tabi'i was going for Jummah namaz. On the way he met a Sahabi. The Sahabi asked him, where are you going? He goes, I'm going for Jummah Salah. The Sahabi said to him, to the Tabi'i, I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, مَا غَبَرَّتْ قَدَمَ عَبْدٍ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ فَتَمَسَّهُ النَّارِ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. The Sahabi said, I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if somebody's feet get soiled in the path of Allah, they will become fireproof. Jahannam will not burn those feet. The ulama kiram, they say that this hadith substantiates that according to the Sahaba kiram, walking for Jummah namaz was being in the path of Allah. So you think that going out in Jamaat is not the path of Allah? What kind of excuses are you making? You're not willing to give up your phone or your movies to sit in ta'lim, to come for namaz. And those people who are striving out in the path of Allah, it's not the path of Allah. What are you talking about? Hazrat Mawlana Osman Kazee, muhaddith of our time, of Bolton. He passed away in Medina Munawwara on the 27th night of Ramadan, Tahajjud time in the state of Roza, in sujood. And he got buried in Jannat al-Baqi. Mawlana Islam al-Haqsa, the ustad of many of our ulama, Shaykh al-Hadith of Bari Darul. He used to say, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever stands for a short while in the path of Allah, Allah Ta'ala forgives all his sins. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever stands for a short while in the path of Allah, it's better than him worshipping Allah at home amongst his family for 70 years. And one riwayat, standing in the path of Allah for a short while is better than worshipping your whole life at home. Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala was going out in the path of Allah. He was walking, and one day, as he's walking with them, he stopped. Brother, in the passage, can you come into the masjid, please? Muhammad bhai, inko bula lo, Hafiz sahab inko bula lo. He was walking, Abu Hurairah, he was walking with his comrades in the path of Allah. Then he stopped. They carried on walking. He just stood there for a while. And then he started walking again. Somebody asked him, why did you stop? He said, I heard from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoever stands for a short while in the path of Allah, his standing is more virtuous than a person in front of a Hadhrat Aswad on the night of Laylatul Qadr, performing salat. Salat is the best ibadat. Hadhrat Aswad, Ka'batullah, is the best of all places. Laylatul Qadr is the best of all nights. More virtuous than that is standing in the path of Allah for a short while. Accumulating all these hadiths together, Mawlana Islam al-Haqsa used to say, at the end of our bayan we have tashkil, when you'll be asked to give your names. When somebody used to stand up, because Mawlana Islam al-Haqsa every year in Ramzan he used to go and give some time in Dewsbury Markaz with Hafiz Patel. So when somebody used to stand up in tashkil, just to give their name, how long do you stand up for? A few seconds. Mawlana Islam al-Haqsa used to say, this is a standing which is referred to in the hadith. This short standing will get all your sins forgiven. This is from our ulama kiram. And then we like to interpret our own way. Making excuses. We know all these virtues, brothers. But why is it that we're not stirred to go out in the path of Allah? Every year, so many people, many of my friends, we used to go in Jamaat together. You know, if you want to meet somebody who you've not met for a long time, go for Jummah namaz. Tip. Some of you probably already know this anyway. And you pray your sunnats at home, or on the way home. Straight after Farz, come outside. You'll get to meet the whole world and their auntie. Everyone. So sometimes I go to Zakaria Masjid. And then I come out, I'm putting my shoes on thinking I'll pray my sunnahs at home. And the whole world's pouring out. And I meet people. And they say, oh, Masal, salam alaikum, Masal, remember me. I say, yeah. Now these guys are 20-something, 30-something. And we used to go Jamaat together. Because we were in that masjid, there was no Darul Quran then. So they say, Masal, you remember we used to go Jamaat together? Happy times. I say, yeah, mashallah, yeah. I remember, of course. Masal Qasam, he was so good. Happy times. I said, Jamaats do still go in the path of Allah, you know. Masab, I'm married now, innit? So, Masab, I got kids now, innit? So, some say, Masab, I'm working now, innit? I said, so. I said, the people who were taking us at that time, the Yunus Bhais, and the Faiz Bhais, and the Abdul Hayz of the world, Allah Ta'ala grant them all Jannah, and the others, they were working people. They had wife and kids. They were not supporting one family, they were supporting two families, one back home also. And despite that, they were still taking this out in the path of Allah. But us, we're so attracted to the dunya that these small things have become an excuse for us not going. And there are so many of my friends, every year, I know, they don't go all year, but because of the guilty conscience, come Christmas, I have 3 days, 5 days. Come on, man. You know what 3 days, 5 days at Christmas time is. I'll be honest with you. Because I've been 3 days, 5 days, what is it? You know. It's like Morrison's revolving door. I once went and joined the Jamaat and they said to me afterwards, what's up? So what do you think of our Jamaat? So I said, mashallah, wonderful satis. But you know, you do not need to stop bringing Morrison's door with you. So what do you mean? So you know Morrison's revolving door is used for exiting and entering. I goes, your Jamaat's like that. Somebody's coming, somebody's going, somebody's coming, somebody's going, somebody's coming, somebody's going. I said, there's no control, 30 of you. Yeah? And it's just a massive bash. Okay, everyone sits in Talim, and then thereafter everyone's on the phone again. I said, you go and you washed away all your nur. Back in the days, if somebody bought a newspaper into the masjid, the Sun, somebody bought the Sun into the masjid, people will lynch him. Isn't it? Today people are bringing their phones into the masjid. I said to people, okay brother, if you can't come in Jamaat without your phone, at least when you come for namaz, don't bring your phone. I said, boy, you need to go into rehab. If you can't leave it at home for that long, you're addicted. But you're bringing a cinema, a jukebox, a disco into the masjid, into the path of Allah. And you sit in Talim, your iman's rising, and then you sit on the phone, even if you are dead, muttaqi, pious, and you want to save yourself. But it's going to come on. The namahram comes on. And just one glimpse and it's all washed away. 2 hours of Talim all washed away in one go. So brothers, we need to take this effort very, very seriously. And we need to really up the game. We're all responsible. Allah Ta'ala has given us a beautiful deen. And we know all these virtues. In one hadith, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, spending in the path of Allah. 1 paisa, meaning 1 dinar, 1 pound, 1 dirham. If I spend 1 pound in the path of Allah, it is equivalent to spending 700,000 pounds. Then in another hadith, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, worshipping in the path of Allah is 700 times more virtuous than spending in the path of Allah. So the ulama kiram have combined these two hadith. Brother, with your phone, put your phone away. And they've combined these two hadiths, 700,000 multiplied by 700, and they say any amal that's done in the path of Allah is equal to or more than 490 million. So I say one subhanallah at home, I get the reward of one subhanallah, I go in the path of Allah, I say subhanallah, 490 million. Somebody went to Mawlana Osman Kazee. Hadhrat Mawlana Yaqub Saheb Saharanpur narrated this to me directly. I heard it with my own ears from him. He was his ustad. Mawlana Hussain Ahmad Madhi, those of you who know who he is, you know. Somebody came to him and said, you know, these tabligis, they exaggerate. They're saying that one subhanallah, 490 million, come on. Ye to gulu hai, super gulu hai. Exaggeration. So surely it can't be that much. So Maulana replied, these are the exact words I heard from Mawlana Yaqub Saheb Rahmatullah. He said, ये तबलीग वाले तो भोले भाले हैं, ये तो कम बताते हैं. वो तो कहते हैं कि एक सुभान अल्लाह पे 49 करोड़ का सवाब मिलता है. मैं कहता हूँ, मौलाना हुसैन अहमद मदनी रहमतुल्लाह अलैह, मैं कहता हूँ ये तो भोले भाले हैं. मैं कहता हूँ कि हर कदम पे अल्लाह मिलता है. They are underestimating. I say they get a lot more than that. Upon every step they get Allah. घर बार छुटा, बच्चे छुटे, जज्बात टूटे, अरमान कटे, दिल हिला पर क्या गिला, देख क्या मिला, Allah मिला. Somebody was going out in the path of Allah a lot. So he had his young friends who back in the days used to go, but then they got married, they got a job, whatever, they stopped going. But this guy, mashallah, because he spent his time well, he's still going. He's 30s, he's 40s, he's got wife and kids, he's still going in the path of Allah. So when they got together for an annual meal, they said to him, you know, like somebody said to me, I hit a chilla as well. I said, it's not cricket ball, like you just hit a six and that's it. Walk back to the pavilion. I said, boy, this is constant effort you've got to make. So they said to him that, we went to, yeah, it's good and everything, but come on. It's so difficult going in Jamaat. Leaving your wife, leaving your kids. Doesn't it pain you? Leaving your job, loss of earnings, and all that. Isn't it difficult? So he replied in a poem, he said, Ghar baar chuta, bacche chute. I leave my wife, I leave my kids. Yes, my heart gets broken. My aspirations get sliced. Jazbaat tute arman kate. Dil hila. My heart trembles, my kids' hearts tremble. Like one brother in our masjid, many years ago, he was coming out for his first 40 days. So when he came to the masjid, he had red eyes. So some of our sathis, proper gablas, got no hikmat. You know what I mean myself. So when somebody goes, have you been crying in front of everyone? So I push, I say, shut up, you got hay fever. So the guy afterwards, he goes, I don't have hay fever. You're right, I was crying. I said, I know, but I didn't want to embarrass you. He said, it's so hard this. What's up, my wife didn't even come to meet me at the door. I'm going for 40 days, my wife didn't come to meet me. My kids were chasing me up the street, telling me, Dad, don't go. I said, the reason why your wife didn't come to meet you is just because, just as your heart is breaking, her heart is breaking. She can't bear to face you. She's gone into a far corner of the house and she's crying her eyes out. That's why she couldn't face you. And I know your heart is breaking. I knew you've been crying. And if I know, you think Allah doesn't know? Which is why Rasulullah said, when a person goes out in the path of Allah, the first step that he takes, first step is from your house, stepping over your threshold, doorstep. That first step, upon that first step, Allah Ta'ala wipes out all the minor sins of that person, حَتَّى لَا يَبْقَى عَلَيْهِ مِثْلَ جَنَاحَ بَعُوضٍ أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام, to the extent that not even a sin equal to a wing of a mosquito is left in his account. Why? Because Allah knows how difficult it is. हाफिज पटेल साहब रहते हैं यीशु से, जब पहले कदम पे ये मिलता है, जो दर बदर की ठोकरें खाएगा, जो मुल्कों में फिरेगा, कभी अर्श पर, कभी फर्श पर, कभी उसके घर, कभी दर बदर गम आशिकी, तेरा शुक्रिया मैं कहां से गुजर गया, कभी रास्तों में तन्हा, कभी लू बेलू की सहरा, मैं जुनून का हम सफर हूं, मेरा कोई दर नहीं है. Imagine what that person will get who strives far and wide for the sake of Allah. Giving up his mother's cooking, his wife's cooking, his orthopedic mattress, his underfloor heating, his desires, his earnings. Imagine how happy Allah will get. Upon the first step, all sins wiped out. And if a person is lucky enough, not unlucky, lucky enough to go out in the path of Allah and he gets a headache. You get a headache all the time. You don't get your morning tea, you get a headache. Wife nags too much, you get a headache. Those of you who aren't married, you got something to look forward to. You get your bill, you get a headache. Been on the phone too much, you get a headache. Headache you get all the time. But if a person is in the path of Allah and he gets a headache, upon that one headache, Allah Ta'ala wipes out all his sins. If a person is even more fortunate and he gets a fever in the path of Allah, this is fever season now, isn't it? People are falling ill, get better, fall ill again, get better, fall ill. It comes and goes. If a person goes out in the path of Allah, Rasulullah said, a person goes out in the path of Allah, he gets 1 day's fever. And he does sabr upon that. Upon that 1 day's fever, Allah Ta'ala will give him the reward of 1 year's accepted ibadat and worship. If a person is even more lucky and he goes out in the path of Allah and he dies in the path of Allah, Allah grant me and all of us. It's very easy for us to say Ameen, but it doesn't come easy, brothers. We can wish it all we want, but we've got to live that life to earn it. There's one person in this masjid, since the age of 17, he's now 80 years old. Since the age of 17, never missed 3 days, never missed 40 days, never missed, so many times been 4 months, striving. Kama tahyam tamutun, as you live your life, so shall you die. Our Farooq Bhai Manzoor, I have recordings of my bayans from 2012 or whatever. And in that bayan, I'm listening to it sometimes and I can hear Allah. Because he used to sit here and uncontrollably he used to say Allah. And he used to preach it. He used to talk the talk, but he used to walk the walk also. Allah Ta'ala gave him a son after so many years. I tashkiled him. He stopped going. He missed one or two children. I tashkiled him. I said, come on, Farooq bhai. Allah's given you a son. He's not given you a son so you can sit at home. So he came. And then that one Ramzan, he got ready for 10 days. He went and he was in Stoke and he passed away in the month of Ramadan, in the path of Allah. And Hafiz Patel Saheb came here, he sat here, he delivered the bayan, went to his house, told his mother, your son is very lucky. What khush naseeb hai. He died in the path of Allah. Person who dies in the path of Allah, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, he will get wedded to 250,000 houls. These examples are in front of us. Faiz Bhai lived opposite the masjid here. He used to give 1 month in the path of Allah, 1 month at home, and along with that he used to go 40 days. When I was in madrasa, every time I used to fall ill, he used to make me garam curry and he used to give me to drink. I went to meet him in hospital. I took 2 satis. One sati is also sitting here, if he remembers. We went, we talked to him. He said, I'm coming home. It was Saturday. He said, Inshallah, I'm coming home on Monday. My daughter's just had a son and they've come. So I'm going to come home. So we talked to him. He seemed okay. We came outside. I said to the satis, how does he look? They said, yeah, he's okay. I think we'll come home. He'll come home. So I just went quiet. I looked down. So they said to me, why? I said, tomorrow night is the 27th night of Ramadan. I said, if he gets past this, he's coming home, otherwise he's not coming home. They said, you're not to you, sending people to the morgue for nothing. I said, watch and see. Sure enough, Sahri time, Tahajjud time, the next morning, got a phone call. Tahajjud time, Allah ki rahmat pe pahunch gaye. I went to his janazah in Zakaria Masjid. It was as if the moon has come out of the skies and come into his coffin. Those of you who saw such a bright face. He's looking up with a massive smile on his face. The people who came with me to the hospital, they came to me. They said, how do you know? How did you know this? I said, I ain't some fortune teller. I said, because Ali Bhai said, passed away in the same manner, 27th night. And thereafter, Ramzan Chata, his story is like the same. I went to meet him, somebody else wanted to go meet him. I said, you don't have a chance, he's going to go. He said, no, how do you know? I said, wait and see. Sure enough, 27th night. As you live your life, so shall you die. But today's Muslim, you know what he is with us? Like somebody said, today's Muslim wants to be educated in England, live in Dubai, holiday in Turkey, eat Chinese rice, Greek salad, Italian pizzas, Japanese sushi, wear French suits, watch American movies, listen to Indian music, speak English, use Korean electronics, and ultimately, after all of that, he wants to die in Makkah, be buried in Medina. Wow. Wishful thinking, Muslim, is not going to happen. As you live your life, so shall you die. Last Ramzan, we were in the path of Allah. Somebody came to me and said, our Iqbal Bhai Tiladia Rahmatullah has passed away. A friend of mine. You know him. So I said to the brother, I said, Aaj kai tarikh hai? 17th of Ramzan. I said, Subhanallah. Should come as no surprise. The day of Badr, he passes away in Ramadan. Why? Because he was striving in the path of Allah also, all his life. So brothers, we all have to die. What legacy are we leaving behind? We're proud about our jobs, our progress. People talk about their companies like it's their dad. I said, boy, they drop you without a second thought. At the drop of a hat, they drop you. We did this. You know, people talk about their football team or their company. We did this. I said, bhai, what's all this we? They can't tell away. You know, in Madrasa, when I was in Madrasa, we got to to Manchester. So there was one football fanatic in Madrasa. He always Manchester United supporter. We did this, we did this. I used to like scratch my head. What do you mean, we? So anyway, our Jamaat was sent there, so he disappeared. I worked after, he came back at night. So he went to Old Trafford. It was training day or something. So he went on the slide. Brother, I hope you not got your phone out. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Put your phone away, brother. I'm not going to apologize for shaming you. Come forward. Hafiz Saheb, dekho bhai, kya ho raha hai? Not on my watch, brother. Come closer. Fill the gaps. Right? Inna lillahi. Made me interrupt the bayan. Everyone pray Durood Sharif, brothers. Inna lillahi. So he went. He came back. When we got Tashkil to Manchester, he was like he's going to Jannat. After, why is he so excited? I said, it's a dump. Yeah? I was wondering, this is like going back 30 odd years. Anyway, he came back at night, he wasn't so excited, he was all deflated. So I got it out of him eventually. I kept on bugging. I said, what happened? So this was the day, in the days of, I'm not going to mention that guy's name, but that player's name. Yeah? Anyway, so he was a superstar of that time. And just as you have superstars now, if I mention his name now, that player's name, you newbies won't even know who he is. In the same way, this guy that you're worshipping, when you mention him to your kids, in years to come, they'll think, huh? Don't want to know. So I said, what happened? He said, I stood in the freezing cold. I was right at the front of the queue. But he had dari topi, you see. He probably took his topi off, but he looked Muslimic, innit? He goes, all the players went by. He goes, Qasmin, nobody took my book to sign it. They took everyone's. But I feel so humiliated. I said, I told you, man. They don't care for you. Nobody cares for you. Only Allah, Rasulullah Sallallahu cares for you. Dunya, your company, they care for you. Your dunya cares for you. Your money cares for you. Your money doesn't even care for you. Your wealth doesn't care for you. Hazrat Ali radiallahu, what did he say? O people of the grave, tell us about yourselves. And then he said, let us tell you about what happened after you left. Your wealth went to other people, left you. Your wives remarried. Everything gone. And you're alone in your grave. हम क्या बताएं अहबाब क्या कारनामे कर गए बीए हुए नौकर बने पेंशन मिली फिर मर गए Akbar Ilhabadi said, what can I tell you about my colleagues? What was a great achievement in life? What was their legacy? Ask yourself, brother, what's your legacy? Your company, is that your legacy? They won't even care for you. He said, what can I tell you about my colleagues who've passed away, Muslims? He said they graduated, they got a degree, then they became employees, and they gave 30, 40 years of loyal service to that company. Then they retired, fir mar gaye, then they died. That's their life. Is that what we want to be remembered for? That we just earned the dunya and left the dunya behind and gone. Somebody living in this area once received a letter, really long with pictures and everything. You know, that, oh, my granddad used to live in this house and blah, 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 and all. He sent pictures of his granddad and everything. Yeah? So I asked him, I said, what did you do? Because I'm into local history. And so I said, oh, and his dad used to work here. His granddad used to work here in the mills. And the mill owner built all these houses and everything. Yeah? So I'm like, oh, what did you do? That's fascinating. So I said, I ripped it up, threw it in the bin. I said, what was his name? He said, who cares? I always say to brothers of Darul Quran, whenever you step outside Darul Quran, that mill that fall, your eyes fall on immediately. That mill is an ibrat for you. Your little house, 2 up, 2 down. You think I'm the king of the hill. Once upon a time, Swan Lane Mill in 1916 was the biggest mill in the whole world. Check it out. And one person owned it all. And all the houses around it, he owned them as well. All his workers worked in those houses. When he stood in the window there, go and check the windows there, with his hands in his pockets of his waistcoat, sometimes looking at his pocket watch, with his pipe in his mouth and his bowler hat on. As he looked out from that window, all he could see, for as far as he could see, were chimney tops and roofs. And when he would turn around, looking over his mahogany desk, all he could see, for as far as he could see, were machines and people. And he would say to himself, Abba do maru. Not in Gujarati, obviously. He used to say, look at me, look at my empire. All this is mine. I challenge any one of you to tell me what was his name. You don't know? I searched for so many years to find his name. Let alone, where is he buried? Nothing. Nothing, all gone. So what's our legacy, our house? Nobody, your grandkid living in your house won't even know your name. That's the reality of the dunya. So brothers, we need to get out of this race for the dunya. Our satis went to meet a youngster. They said, I can't come to that. Why not? Working 7 days. I said, Alhamdulillah, I'm past 50 years old. Never in my life have I worked 7 days a week. Alhamdulillah. Why? Because dunya is dunya. You got to keep it within limits. What kind of a life is that? That you're just chasing for the dunya. You got no time for the masjid, no time to go in gush, no time to go out in the path of Allah. What kind of a life is that? And you know what they call that race for the dunya? What's it called? The rat race. I didn't give it that name. Mawlana didn't give it that name. That's a sign from Allah. Somebody said the ironic thing about the rat race is that even if you win, Hamza, you're still a rat. You're still a rat. We don't want to be resurrected on the day of judgment as rats of the dunya, do we? People, what have our lives become? Youngsters, ask yourselves. Now you're earning, and you got money in your pocket, and the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you interact with people has changed. You started looking down on the Mawli Sahibs, or the naked people in your family, your granddad, or your grandma. You start looking down on them. Your language has changed. Why? Because the pride, the arrogance of wealth is coming now. And it's changed you. And you're happy that the money is coming in. But you're not happy. You're happy about the dunya that you're acquiring, but you're not distressed. That, boy, where's my 40 days gone? Where's my 10 days gone? I always say to people, you know, Hassan Basir Amta used to say, I'm going to wrap it up now. Hassan Basir Amta used to say to his congregation, and he lived within 100 years of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He used to say, if the Sahaba Kiram were to come out of their graves and were to see you people, they would consider you to be munafiqs, hypocrites. He's talking to the Tabi'een, the good people, good era. And he would say to them that the Sahaba would think you are hypocrites. The ulama kiram say that if the Sahaba kiram were to come out of their graves now and see us, what would they think of us? I say we don't have to go that far back. If your and my alter ego could come out of me, you know what I mean? Yeah, your projection, your younger self, your avatar could come out of you. Yeah? Your 8-year-old, your 10-year-old, all of us. Think tonight before we go to sleep, after Dar Chawal or whatever it is, all of us sit down and be honest with ourselves. That's the key. Be honest with yourself. If my younger self could come out and sit in front of me and talk to me, what would my alter ego, younger self say to me? Honestly. And if we're honest, my alter ego, first and foremost, before he would open his mouth, would give me a slap. A person's alter ego will spit in his face. What have you done? What's become of you? You're a wreck. You're almost 40 years old. You don't have a handle on your namaz. Allah, we were supposed to become something, because every single person saying here, we had dreams, we had aspirations. If you don't believe me, go and ask your mom. Go and ask your grandparents. You didn't used to say, I'm going to be a footballer, I'm going to be a dancer. You got slapped. All of us, what did we used to say? I'm going to go in Jamaat. I'm going to be like Nana. I'm going to be like Dada. I'm going to be like him. We all had aspirations. And now look at ourselves. What are we doing? Just earning dunya. The dunya we're going to leave behind. Treacherous dunya. Stinky dunya. And I'll end with this one example. When a person disregards the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to acquire his dunya, he'll get dunya. Somebody said to me, Saheb, I'm earning that much. I said, why? To get the namat of dunya. Dunya is a namat, beshak. Food, clothing, money, all these are namats. I'm not denying that. But they're not the highest ranking namats. People can't get their head around that. Highest ranking namats are not dunya. They're not material. Highest ranking namats are spiritual. One person gets the tawfiq to pray 2 rakats nafil namaz. Another person gets £1 billion. Who's richer? The one who got the tawfiq to pray 2 rakats. But the person needs iman to understand that. So dunya coming is no big deal. Allah Ta'ala gave dunya and plenty of dunya to Fir'aun, Qarun, Haman, Namrud, Ubay bin Khalf, Abu Jahl, Abu Lahab, and all his enemies. At the time that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had stones tied to his stomach, Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab, Utbah and Shayba were loaded. At the time when Musa Alayhi Salam had one choga like this, which he would sleep on, which he would wear, and which he would put the feed for the goats on, he had nothing else. At that same time, Fir'aun was drowning in it, in his bling and his wealth. So getting wealth is not the highest ranking namat. Allah Ta'ala gives to his enemies even. But Allah only gives tawfiq, an ability to do good to his friends. And if a person earns his dunya at the expense of his deen, then Allah Ta'ala afflicts him. So what kind of affliction comes? We tend to think, because our thinking is all messed up, it's so far from deen, we don't have time for the masjid. So what is the interpretation of barakat? We don't know, but we just think barakat is loads of money. What's the highest ranking namat? Is money. Yeah? What's the azab of Allah? No money. No, wait. Very quickly, before I give you the example, I just remembered. Musa alayhi salam, in his time, there was a shaitan. There was a real rebel, party animal. He was well known for disobedience of Allah. So when a person starts disobeying Allah a lot, and the punishment of Allah doesn't come on the face of it, he starts getting very audacious, cocky, starts gloating. Like the people of the world today now, they say, where's your Allah? Where's your Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? The arrogance gets to them. So he said to Musa alayhi salam, oh Musa, look at me, fornicating, drinking, doing all the harams, and you're telling me not to do it, and I'm still doing it, and you're warning me of the azab of Allah still hasn't come. Go and ask your Allah, when's this azab coming? Fa'tina bima ta'iduna. Like the people used to say, come on, bring the azab of Allah, we're getting bored waiting now. That's how arrogant they got. So he said to Musa alayhi salam, go and ask your Allah, when's it coming now? Come on, so I can pencil it into my diary. Musa alayhi salam went and asked Allah, that shaitan is saying this. Allah said to Musa alayhi salam, brothers, open your ears and listen carefully. This azab has befallen all of us. Allah said to Musa alayhi salam, oh Musa, go tell him, my azab has already arrived on his doorstep long ago. It's just that he's blind. It's not the eyes that are blind only, the hearts are blind. And he doesn't realize that he's been afflicted. What's the azab? I have deprived him of the lazzat of munajat. I've deprived him of the enjoyment, the relish of calling out to me, of making dua to me. About one buzurg is written, he used to make dua every day, 8 hours every single day. Imam Zainul Abidin Rahmatullah used to pray 1,000 nafil rakats every day. Why? Because Allah gave them the right relish. And somebody who disobeys Allah, Allah might give him dunya, but deprived him of that relish. Your first saf's gone, your namaz jamaat's gone, your 3 days gone, your 40 days gone, your 4 months gone, your talim's gone. But you're still, mashallah, alhamdulillah, hada min fadli rabbi, because the money's coming in. No, but you've been deprived. You're a loser. And you need to go out in the path of Allah so your eyes open. But when a person continues to disobey Allah, you know what Allah does? How does Allah Ta'ala afflict him? Now gauge ourselves on this. I'll end with this example. Promise. A person who disobeys Allah, doesn't praise namaz, don't go out in the path of Allah, doesn't do zikr, doesn't do Quran tilawat, and just enjoying life. Life's a melody, life's a party, curry house, gourmet burgers, outings, milkshakes, ha ha, he, holiday, picnic, party. Huh? You got time for picnic and parties and curry houses and gourmet burgers. You've not got time, you've not got money to go out in the path of Allah. When we were kids, we used to, after the holiday, we used to go back to school. First we were in Senegal, yeah. So Senegal was like, mashallah, inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. We had one English kid. So it was all our problem, isn't it? Like family. Then you went to Haywood. That was a culture shock. 80% whites, 20% updated. So then, it's like, it took you time to get used to them and, you know, their way of life. So after the holidays, after Christmas holidays, we go back. And then your friend Jason goes, did you go anywhere for your holiday? So yeah, I went Bradford. Bradford for the holiday, Bradistan. So then you ask him, Jason, did you go anywhere? He goes, yeah, I went to Tenerife. Huh? Went to Torquay. We went to Costa del, what's it called? And we went to Spain, we went to Barcelona and all this. So us guys were like, what? So we'd come home and we'd tell our parents. Or we'd tell Marisa in Madrasa. Goria went on holiday. So they'd tell us then. This isn't going back that long ago. They'd say, by we don't do stuff like that. Muslim doesn't do stuff like that. That you earn loads of money and then you go and blow it in one shot. The Muslims don't do that. What we do is we earn money and then we give to the poor so they can have a holiday at home. So they can light their chula. We don't waste money on stuff like this. Yes? I'm not saying holidays are haram, brothers, but you know, ask your heart what needs to be there. So many of our brothers, Masa can't do 40 days this year, I'll do 10. Why? Went on holiday. Because you're so engaged in the dunya, you don't have time to go out in the path of Allah. You don't have money to spend in the path of Allah. Anyway, so what happens is Allah Ta'ala's punishment comes upon that person. And what's the first punishment that comes upon a person? Is that Allah Ta'ala dilon ke chain ko chhin lete. When Allah is disobeyed by a person, Allah Ta'ala doesn't take away his wife, his kids, his bling, his car. Allah Ta'ala takes away contentment of the heart. To illustrate this, the elders give a beautiful example. And you're going to have to repeat this example to me. So listen very carefully. There was once a person, he was a gentleman. You know gentleman? Suit, boot and tie, cufflinks, yeah? Three-piece suit, waistcoat, gentleman. Yeah? He goes along to a very, very posh restaurant. People go to this restaurant only on special occasions. And really, they just go there to get the napkins so they can show people, or the bag, the doggy bag, to show people get, or the receipt, post that online. I can afford to eat here, right? But this person's so rich that he went to this restaurant, prestigious restaurant, for a lunch. It wasn't a special occasion, it wasn't an anniversary, it wasn't Valentine's or anything. He just went for a lunch just to show people how rich he is. He walked in and he goes to the waiter. The whole place is empty. He goes, I'd like a table for one, please. So the waiter certainly said, there you go. He goes, no. I want it next to the window. Why does Mr. Gentleman want the table next to the window? Because he's not going there for himself. He's going there to show people that I'm so rich, I can afford to have a lunch here. I'm that rich. So the waiter gives him a table, a window seat. Now he sits there. And he's very hungry at the end of the day. So he looks over the menu and he orders, for example, brother, put your phone away, Jazakallah. He says, I'm almost finished now. So he orders a chicken tikka masala. As a waiter goes to get the food, he takes his napkin, puts it in, and then he spreads it out on his lap. Then he gets his fork and knife, licks his lips, gets ready. in his three-piece suit and his cufflinks. Because he's Mr. Gentleman, Mr. Civilized, he can't possibly eat with his hands, isn't it? Because that would be native, that would be backward, that would be primitive. So the food comes. He is hungry at the end of the day and it's steaming hot. So as he picks up his fork and knife, he sees that there's half a tomato in the plate. Now you and I know that when you're very hungry and you look at a dish like that, that tomato that's been cooked in the curry, in the salad, in the lawan, it glistens in the oil. So it's proper red. And it's like he's calling out to him, eat me, eat me. So immediately he punctures it with his fork and he puts it into his mouth and he bites it. Now you and I know that when a tomato has been cooked in a curry, hot oil permeates into the tomato, goes inside. So when he squeezes it and bites it, the hot scorching oil shoots out, burns his tongue, burns his palate. Yes? If he would have eaten according to the sunnats, he would have known that it's too hot to eat. But because he's a gentleman, he went the other way. Now he chews it, burns his palate. Now, if I was there or you were there, what would we do? We'd spit it out, because we ain't no gentlemen. Huh? Or we would have gone, but he can't possibly do that. That would be uncivilized, isn't it? What will people say? That would be uncultured. So in Urdu we say, na phook sakta hai, na thook sakta hai. He can't spit it out. Uncultured. He can't go primitive. Na ugal sakta hai, na nigal sakta hai. He can't swallow it, too hot. He can't spit it out, backward. Na keh sakta hai, na seh sakta hai. He can't tell anyone, because then people are going to say, well, we thought, like, whoa, you're the guy, and nor can he take the pain. So he just sits there with his fork and knife, and his napkin, and his cufflinks, in utter agony, squirting away, red in the face. Yeah? And all the time, people are walking past, looking up at him, thinking, God, he's so lucky. I wish I was just like him. उसकी तो बड़ी शान है. नहीं, वो तो परेशान है. He's so lucky. No, bhai, you don't know the inside story. This is the example of the people of the world. How do I know this? Mawlana will know this as well. When you graduate as a Mawlana, then surgery is never closed. You're supposed to be available at all hours. People call you at 3 o'clock asking you maslas, and they expect you to be there. And people will come to you with their problems. People spill out their hearts. Like our Amir Sahib says, har ghar ki diwar pe dukh ki dastan likhi hui hai. Har dil dard ka darya hai. Every heart has got a typhoon, a tornado of pain and torment. On every wall, every house, illa mashallah, there's a tale of woe written. People are driving past their houses thinking, Ya Allah. People are walking, they're making dua, Ya Allah, make me just like him. No, you don't know. He's got this house, but he earned it at the cost. What's the cost? You know, us guys, we just look at the price tag. Yeah? But there's another price tag. Somebody looks, look at this guy, he bought his car, 60,000 pounds, mashallah. I said, Allah, mashallah, very happy for him. But he got ripped off. No, Masa, it's only 60,000. If he earned it and he worked hard, Masa, he deserves it. Come on. I said, yeah, okay. But he got ripped off. He said, Masa, it's only 60,000, 60 grand. I said, no. There's another price tag that you're not seeing because you're blind, because you've not been in Jamaat, you've not made the effort to Iman. There's another price tag that I can see. This car cost him too much. He got ripped off left, right, and center. So what are you talking about, Masa? What price tag? VAT? I think he paid VAT. I said, no, another price tag. A price tag that he doesn't know about. The Inland Revenue, the taxman doesn't know about. What's up? How many namaz did he miss to earn the money to acquire that car? How many 40 days did he forego? How many 4 months has he missed? How many first of namazes has he missed? That's another price tag. You've got to take that into account. 30 years of no namaz. And he got a Bugatti. He's lost out by. Bugatti is going to get left behind. You're going to have to give hisab for your namaz. Nabi Pak Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was shown the azab of akhirat. And he said, I saw a person lying down, angel standing over him with a large boulder, bringing it down with such force on his head that the guy's head was completely splat. And fragments of his brain and his skull went flying everywhere. And the boulder bounced away. And the angel went to fetch it. In the meantime, Allah Ta'ala restored his head. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he saw that terrible scene, he was traumatized by it. And he asked the angels, Mikael and Jibreel, who is this? Why is this punishment? Eventually they told him that this is a person who did not pray their Isha Salat, Isha Namaz. And they went to sleep. He's all curled up in his godru with his electric blanket and his orthopedic mattress next to his fit wife, thinking, oh, cuddling up, maja, maja. No maja. Punishment coming your way, brother. You got surprises in store for you if you don't wake up. This is said by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. This is all a reality. Brothers, all these things that I've said about the Akhirah, I think for us it's like fairy tales. When we read the chapter on Azab-e-Qabr, I remember Mufti Badal Saheb Damat Barakatum, our Ustad, he closed the kitab, he bowed his head, he started crying, and he said that all of this is a reality. Punishment of the grave, scorpions in the grave, serpents in the grave. He said today's Muslims are living their lives as if these things were never narrated by Rasulullah. Ji aisa lagaya jeene mein, marne ko Musliman bhul gaya. If we assess our lives, this is how it is. We're living, there's very little difference between ourselves and non-Muslims. And the deendar people are those who are praying their namaz. They're happy with that. MashaAllah, namaz purna. Why no? You've been praying namaz for 30 years. How about progression? You're supposed to be striving in the path of Allah. No, so, and then people get cocky. You know the arrogance I'm talking about? Last thing. You know what people do? People point fingers at Maulvi Sahib. Zaman ma jawano etlu jarurat hai, Maulvi Sahib jata hoga. Maulvi Sahib would be going. I said, let me tell you a story about a very big Mawlana from Bolton. People don't value him. Those who value him, value him. Right? I said, you know these Maulvi Sahib, they do more tabligh than us. A Maulvi Sahib who's doing imamat, doing Jummah khutbah, he's doing his tabligh. He's teaching his madrasa. But what, you and I, the common people, what are we doing? So this Mawlana, he teaches hadith. He's always out, he's always teaching. Somebody said, he doesn't go Jummah. I said to him, let me tell you a story. Once our Jamaat from Bolton was in Bournemouth. Right down there. It was Ramzan. They prayed Isha, Taraweeh, and they went to sleep. Next thing they know, the mic comes on, and Maulana starts his bayan. So they sit up and they go, Allah, I thought apna Maulvi Sahib hai. So they went up and they met him. And there was people sitting there, whole crowd, and he did bayan. After he finished the bayan, they said, Maulvi Sahib, Tameya? He goes, Tameya? They said, we're in 40 days. What are you doing here, Maulvi Sahib? He said, I prayed, I did bayan after Asr in Bolton. I did my iftar. And he goes, I set off. And in such and such place we prayed Taraweeh. And we came here to Bournemouth. Yeah? He goes, because these taxi drivers and takeaway owners, they do a late Taraweeh, they wanted a bayan thereafter. So they invited me. He goes, I'm doing bayan, I'm having this sahri, I'm heading back. In Ramzan. And that Maulana, he delivers bayans regularly here. Whenever I go to his bayan, on a Monday, he always says, Chalo, before I start the dars, let me tell you, Chalo, what did we do on the weekend? Walsall, Birmingham, London, Scotland, Glasgow, this, that. That's his whole weekend gone. Yeah? And then we say, oh, Maulvi Sahib doesn't do tabligh. You're just making excuses, brother. What are you doing for your deen? The ulama are doing it. But you and I, the common person, namaz is enough? No. But namaz is not enough. We're from the ummah of Rasulullah. So namaz we have to pray from day one anyway. How about striving in the path of Allah, doing something for the ummah, for the good people of this country, the non-Muslims? They've given us so much. What have we given back to them? We work with them, we converse with them, we interact with them. We've not shown them Islam. How can we get away on the day of judgment? So brothers, You've been a fantastic audience. Allah bless you. I'm sorry for going on so long. You've given me your undivided attention. Now I request that you give me your intentions, brothers. So, brothers, first and foremost, give your intentions for 10 days. Come, brothers. Who's ready for 10 days? In order to derive maximum benefit, we will have to go out in the path of Allah for 10 days. Especially the students of college, university, school, we are able to give 10 days. It's not a problem. So give intention. From this masjid, alhamdulillah, 2 years ago, newbie brothers we went